Hello everybody and welcome back. Today's video will be our price predictions for Ethereum in 2019. And before we get started, I would like to mention that everything I talk about is my opinion, it's not financial advice. Please do your own research and let's get on with it. So at the moment, Ethereum is back in position number 2, like we were for most of 2018. So it's kind of one of the only coins at the moment which is doing well, and obviously we'll go on to talk about Constantinople and its imminent hard fork. So Ethereum is obviously doing quite well over the last 2-3 weeks. I believe in our first article, if I can just find it. Yeah. Ethereum surges 85% in 18 days as Constantinople hard fork approaches. So what does this actually mean? Why is it rising like this? I found a fantastic article by Cointelegraph about Constantinople, and it kind of explains what this all means and why we're moving in the direction we are in terms of its price. So, what is Constantinople? The upcoming Constantinople hard fork includes 5 different Ethereum improvement proposals, EIPs, to smooth the transition from POW, which is proof of work, to POS, which is proof of stake. Once released, they will fundamentally change Ethereum blockchain via a host of new upgrades, which prevent any backward compatibility, meaning that nodes must either update synchronously with the entire system or carry on running as a separate blockchain entity. So what does that mean? So in a nutshell, for anybody out there who wants to know about layman terms, proof of work is all about the power wins. So the people with the best graphics cards, the most graphics cards, the most computing power will always win out over anybody else. So the people sitting there with 10 NVIDIA 1080 Ti's linked up will just eat up all the Ethereum reward. Obviously with that comes high energy costs. Each one of those cards needs beefy power. And what does this mean for when countries like China seem to be eating up the hash rate for Bitcoin? It becomes a centralized platform. I mean, there's a lot of talk about Bitmain and its Chinese government and how a lot of the mining for Bitcoin is coming from China. Then they control the hash rate, and obviously it can lead into all sorts of potential troubles with that. Why should we move on to proof of stake? Proof of stake is probably the more democratic approach for a foundation to make like Ethereum. It's a way of asking someone to buy a product or invest in something on the basis that you lock it into the system to get something back. So must stake wealth to solve block. Similarly with a bank account, a savings account, where you're asked to invest £3,000 or dollars over 1 year on the basis that at the end of those 12 months, as long as you don't take the money out, there'll be a reward of interest, and the reward is only gained after that period. If you take it out before, you are obviously penalized. And similarly with Ethereum POS, you're asked to stake a minimum of 32 Ethereum into the blockchain, and on the back of that you are then rewarded. And obviously I see this as the most fairest way to ask people to invest, support the blockchain, and also in that you have a return of Ethereum. So I'll continue to read. Essential role of Constantinople in delaying the difficulty bomb. Furthermore, the Constantinople hard fork includes changes to Ethereum's underlying mining economic policy and the delay of the difficulty bomb, aimed at making the production of new blocks more complex and unfavorable. This is a set of code programmed to trigger the so-called Ethereum Ice Age, the main purpose of which is to make mining unprofitable and promote transition to POS. So really, again, trying to get people to move over to the POS system if they can't find that POW, proof of work, is not profitable anymore, where they're spending more cost on electricity and less reward on Ethereum. The Ethereum Ice Age is designed to ensure that all participants switch to the new network after a hard fork is implemented. The bomb gradually complicates Ethereum mining, increasing the mining block time. With the introduction of Casper update as part of the Serenity milestone, the complexity is supposed to grow higher. Miners will not be able to match the increase in complexity. The purchase of the new equipment and its configuration will simply be economically unprofitable. So again, doesn't matter how much you throw power at it, it still will not be profitable to mine on POW anymore. Thus, the network will be left without miners and will freeze. The Ice Age will come. The bomb was introduced in September 2015, soon after the launch of the Ethereum network. So again, it's kind of trying to push people away from POW to POS, which again is a very smart way of doing it. So the difficulty bomb delay will be included in Constantinople to maintain the stability of the system by leaving the network in the same state as before. Reducing the block reward also decreases the likelihood of a miner-driven chain split as Ethereum approaches proof of stake. So again, a way to prevent a Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum Classic situation. So they really want to obviously keep the project together, keep it as Ethereum, and don't want any break off blockchains being created. 5 elements of Constantinople: code optimization and network stabilization, the main purposes of Constantinople as part of the scaling roadmap, will be reached through the implementation of 5 EIPs. These are standards developed by Ethereum Foundation members at different times, which include core protocol specifications, client APIs, and contract standards. So obviously these are protocols which were obviously there a while ago, just haven't been implemented. So EIP 145, an improvement proposal written by Alex Bereskazi and Pavel Bylika, I hope that's right, to introduce native bitwise shifting as a more efficient method of information processing on the Ethereum blockchain. EIP 1014, created by Vitalik Buterin, as you know, one of the founders of the Ethereum project. The upgrade is aimed at providing a better scaling solution based on off-chain transactions. It allows interactions to be made with addresses that do not exist on-chain yet, but can be relied upon. EIP 1052, a proposal by core developer Nick Johnson, allows the optimization of large-scale code execution on Ethereum. EIP 1234, written by Parity Release Manager Afri Shredden, EIP 1234 is supposed to reduce block mining reward from 3 Ethereum to 2, and the delay difficulty bomb for 12 months. The changes are mainly directed towards network stabilization and smoother preparation for the implementation of the next upgrades to gradually move to POW. So this is obviously one of the big ones that I spoke about. And EIP 1283. Based on EIP 187, this upgrade mainly benefits smart contract developers by reducing excessive gas costs where it doesn't match how most implementation works. So yeah, I mean, this is a great outlook for 2019 for Ethereum. So I found another article. It was price predictions for I think 5 different companies or investors or individuals about Ethereum. So Ian McLeod, an influential technology expert at Thomas Crown Art, predicts that Ethereum might reach something more than $500 in 2019, as it might experience a global and monumental breakout. He mentions that BTC might lose 50% of its crypto market share to Ethereum in 5 years or so. Make up that of what you think. The next person is the De Beer Group. As we know a lot about them. One of the leading international financial consulting firms, CEO Nigel Green, predicted that Ethereum would reach more than $2,500 by 2019. He stated 3 reasons for the Ethereum price increase: more platforms used for trading and more demand for digital currencies, increases the use of smart contracts, and the decentralization of cloud computing. And there's a couple more trading predictions. One is obviously $908 by Trading Beasts, and the founder of Arc Capital, Brian Schuster, made a bullish, optimistic prediction. He believed that Ethereum will reach $100,000 in another 5 years or so, and will eventually replace gold with crypto. I mean, we already have Bitcoin for gold, so it'll be interesting to see whether there'll be another space for Ethereum. What's my prediction? So Ethereum, according to Wikipedia, was firstly proposed in 2013 by Vitalik Buterin, and it went live in 2015. So what? 4.5 years old? Sorry, 3.5 years old really. So not a very old project at all. It reached around $1,400 last year, where it peaked around, I think, 2017. So around December time is which it really peaked. And the question now is, what can it do with proof of stake? I think, again, going back to my Bitcoin prediction videos and XRP prediction videos, Ethereum hit $1,400 without any investor backing. And that's very important because it reached $1,400 with individual investors like you and I. And although I gave other predictions, or I made other videos about my buys would be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, and EOS, Ethereum is going to be a project which is going to be there, and it's going to be there for a number of years. In my prediction videos or my buys videos, I did mention it was all on the basis that Ethereum, was to get these improvements in place, and because they had been delayed for so many years, we weren't too sure when it was going to be done. And now the fact that we have a date of the 16th, this is going to propel Ethereum's price. And obviously it's going to take a year for proof of stake to bed itself in, and it's a very smart way of doing it instead of a hard way, almost like a soft deal, no hard deal for Brexit. So, where do I see it going? I think I mentioned someone giving a $110,000 prediction in 5 years. That would be fairly high. If you look at the supply for Ethereum, it has a circulating supply of 104 million Ethereum, and to give it a price of $110,000, that will be almost astronomical. How high that would be. If I was just to simply work that out, it would be one of the highest cryptocurrency valuations that you could have. I don't think that I can't necessarily see that happening in 5 years. The actual figure would be $11 trillion. $11.4 trillion. Is it possible? Yes, anything is possible. I think it's improbable. To reach $11 trillion, that would mean that if Bitcoin was still around, then Bitcoin would be 40 trillion dollar market cap. XRP would be around $10 trillion. The whole market would be probably around 60 or 70 trillion dollars. So, not sure about that one. However, what seems more likely for 2019 is obviously, as long as there's no issues with Constantinople, I can see it reaching an easy $2,000, $2,500 by August, September this year. it will give it enough time from January until September or August, September for people to move on to proof of stake, to change the nodes, updates to be made to other exchanges. Obviously, we know exchanges will do it fairly quickly. And obviously, if they can lower things like gas fees, increase transaction sizes, and really compete with EOS, which I see as its one of its main competitors, as long as it can get the transaction sizes up, costs down, make mining more profitable for proof of stake, then you will get more people coming into the market, and then hopefully get better products or better tokenization on the ERC20 platform. So $2,500 or $2,000 to $2,500 by August, September this year, and obviously moving into the end of the year, hopefully increase that to maybe $3,500. Is that slightly on the conservative side? Yes. I mean, it's really only double of what it reached last year, and we've got a massive positive for Ethereum this year, compared to its slow laggy behavior from last year and even this year. So so far this year. So that's my prediction for 2019. Where is it going to go in 2020? Again, it all depends on its scalability, its use in real world situations, and if companies or industries can make use of smart contracts and really make use of the smart contract and its ability to offer so much power in terms of just transactions, contracts, buying a house. If these agreements are met, then the money is released, according to a smart contract. Smart contracts have so much power to them, and they have not been utilized as how they should be. But if things like that can happen, then we can see a six-figure Ethereum in the next few years by maybe 2020, 2021. But I can't see it reaching $110,000. I don't. 11 trillion is just a figure which at the moment seems unreachable by a currency like Ethereum. Even at the highest, we can look at Bitcoin reaching $100,000, but that's not going to be $11 trillion. And then especially for a coin which shares a smaller percentage of dominance compared to Bitcoin's 51%. So, I'll wrap up there. I'd like to hear what you guys think of my prediction. Is it too low? Is it too high? Or are we going to see Ethereum crash and burn? Personally, I don't, but I would love to hear your thoughts. So as usual, everybody, thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.